Alright guys, now many people know the story of Jesus. They know how he was born, and they know that he was born in a manger, and that he had his life, and all the things that led up to his death. They know that story, but what they don't know is the story of how people came around him, the littler story about the manger actually taking place, and when Jesus was being born, all the different events that were going on at the time. Because at the start of it, there was the Star of David, the sign, the northern star. And when the angels were preparing everything in the Bible for Jesus to be born in the manger with Mary and with Joseph and with the three wise men that ended up showing up, which are the point of the story that I'm talking about today. It's the wise men. The King Herod, wanted to kill Jesus and wanted to get rid of him as soon as he heard about him, because he was a threat. He was a threat to the king, because Jesus could potentially get the people moving in an emotional way. He could motivate them. And so what ended up happening was those three wise men that came to Jesus, they started out by following the stars. They started out by following that northern star to Jesus, and they were called the wise men because they came from distant lands, and they came from distant areas in degrees of science, knowledge, and the arts of reading stars and different things like that. So they were what you would consider, back then they were like stargazers, and in the Renaissance area you would consider them like the Enlightenment men, and then nowadays you would consider them like innovators, or like your thinkers of the day. And that's really what they were, and that's one of the most fascinating things, was that Jesus brought everyone. He brought those who believed in him, Jewish, Catholics, Gentiles, all the religions, and then he brought the outside, the ones that, you know, were interested in the knowledge about it all, and were interested in what the stars were pointing at. And the astrologers is really what the wise men were, because astrology is a study of the stars and the interpretation of what the stars may or may not represent. And when they followed the northern star, the Star of David, to Jesus, that's what they were going based off of. They were following the star based off of the idea of what it meant to them and what it meant for the world, and that's why they came and showed up with the gifts and with everything. And even in the Bible, the angels ended up interacting with these astrologers, or these knowledge seekers. The angels told the wise men not to tell King Herod where they were really going, and to mislead him, sorta, and that ended up saving Jesus' life. And I thought that was so fascinating, because this is one of the earliest ideas of what maybe someone who is seeking the truth, or seeking knowledge, or you know, had an idea about any of the premonitions of what now is today's Illuminati, or now is today's occult, or now is today's astrology, or, you know, the knowledge, or the enlightenment types that you would see. That was way back then, in that time frame, in that time period. That was one of the first forms of it and the first ideas of it, and these wise men were really what represented it. I just wanted to point that story out to you guys. Hope you all had a wonderful Christmas, and give me a shout out if you want to know anything else, and I'll see you in the next one.